I know that term from the rap world, like based, but I didn't know what based means, but I've heard it used a bunch of times, and it's always a positive. Based is all about being yourself and not caring about what anybody else thinks. I don't care, I'm based.
Petty for president, racing and leveraging, facing competitors. I'm not the regular petty for president. You are not ready yet, serving, I represent. Trust me with all respect, petty for president. Moving protected, yes, no losing delegates. Seats in my homies, man's petty for president. Black be my leather, yes, no speech impediment. TV like Letterman, petty on podium, powerful president.
What's up, brother, man?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you fine. What's going on, dude?
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, man. Of course. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. We're just going to jump right into it here because I want to be respectful of your time. I know it's a Sunday and it sounds like you got family and stuff going on. So, yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on, dude. This whole podcast, I wanted to basically talk to the people behind the content that's all the base stuff out there. You know, we're putting our memes out there. We're putting ideas out there. They're spreading like wildfire. And I just think people will be interested to get to know the minds behind it. So what's your origin story, man?
I started pretty much a lot of other meme accounts. I was at work and, you know, guys would send me pictures of people doing stupid crap and I would be making memes, or I've got, you know, family enjoyed some memes. I was just making stuff in between friends and coworkers. And one day I decided I was going to start an account. And I named it That Southern Dude because it was mostly about like fishing, camping, hunting, like outdoors type stuff, things that, you know, people like doing on their, you know, on their off time as hobbies, and quickly turned political.
How long have you had the account?
Since 2020. So going on just over 2 years, actually. So,
yeah.
It started out as kind of, like I said, an outdoorsy type of meme account, and then it quickly turned political probably towards the end of the middle of 2020, around June, July. I think that's when it started.
I kind of have the same story, man, because I was talking a lot about like dating type stuff and just kind of human nature type stuff. And then the world did what it did. And then I started posting more political content. Like I didn't even mean to. And it kind of sounds like you're in the same realm where you're just kind of doing your thing, doing life. And then your meme purpose kind of fell in your lap. It kind of sounds like.
Yeah. I actually caught COVID in the end of the summer of 2020. And when I did that, I had nothing to do around the house for about a month except research a bunch of shit. And I was just researching. It kind of opened my eyes, and I've always been skeptical, and I've always kind of leaned a certain way, and I've always been open-minded to like a lot of things, but it really did open my mind when I saw like how people were being treated. People who literally just normal people, everyday people who just wanted to live their lives normally and not be screwed with. And it opened my eyes. I finally, I think that's a big turning point as to how it turned political. My meme account was just the research I was doing, and I was kind of pissed off, to be honest with you.
Has it always been pretty anonymous, or did you decide to kind of keep your identity away from it once it turned political? Or was it just kind of a decision in general where you just kind of wanted to create a brand versus, you know, having it revolve around yourself?
Yeah, that's mostly it, to be honest with you. I mean, the fact that it's, you know, you do have some whack jobs out there. So as far as keeping it, you know, anonymous due to the political nature, I guess kind of makes sense. But most of all, I like the fact that people like me for the memes, for the actual like stuff I put out. And I think that actually I think it says a lot about the actual content I am putting out. And I really do enjoy it when people like it, share it, all of that. That stuff is really, it's empowering, just like what you do, you know, with your content. Yeah. You have people like you for your sense of humor, that sort of thing. You know, it's not because you're like walking around in a Speedo or anything. Not that anybody wouldn't like that.
Well, I kind of know. I had a Mostly Peaceful. He was on here yesterday, and we were just kind of talking about the same content because I kept mine really anonymous for the same reasons, where I was kind of worried about nut jobs.
Yep.
But then it just kind of came to a point, you know, I do stand up and stuff like that. And it's like, dude, eventually this is I'm just not going to be able to hide this. And I kind of felt like, all right, if I'm going to be saying some stuff, fuck it, I'm just going to put my face behind it at this point.
Yeah.
But I did notice it was actually a lot easier to grow before I was showing my face, because I think it kind of creates a mystique in people. There's a lot of ego involved with branding, and, because if somebody just sees a meme page they like, oh, whatever, I like these memes, but then somebody could just see my face and I could remind them of somebody they hate and like, oh, fuck this guy, and they have no interest in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I think there will be a time, who knows, I never know what the future holds as far as me putting myself out there. I don't mind doing it, but now is just not the time. I'm sure it'll come,
Yeah, and I respect. What's the Doc Holliday inspiration? I love that you use the Doc Holliday imagery.
To be honest with you, there's a couple of things. One, to be honest with you, it's not even that deep of a reasoning. It's one of my favorite movies. I absolutely love the movie, and he's my favorite character in the movie. But I also wanted somebody who kind of represented freedom, the old school mentality of just don't screw with me, that sort of thing, and I think it really does, even though he's not really everybody's cup of tea, but he also has a sense of humor in the movie. He's actually one of the funniest characters as well. So he actually draws the humor out of serious situations. And I think for all of those reasons, I was like, man, he's kind of the perfect face, I think.
Yeah, no, it works. It works so well.
I think I actually thought about changing it probably about 2 or 3 months ago. I brought it up to the guys in the Patriot Meme Alliance, and I was like, hey, I'm thinking about changing it, maybe changing the brand a little bit and changing the name, so that way people actually know what my content, because if somebody clicked on my page, that Southern dude, nobody knows it's like political memes. Of course, mostly peaceful, hit me with some horrible ideas. It was just, I'm not even going to repeat them on your show. It was just absolutely ridiculous. I was like, okay, obviously he's joking. But everybody else was like, no, man, the Doc Holliday thing works. Don't change it at all. Like, keep rolling with it. So I did, and I'm happy. I'm happy I didn't change it.
Yeah, you kind of stumbled into something genius there, because for the reasons like you said, there's kind of, because I really don't like, like Grand Old Memes is kind of the godfather of like right-leaning memes, and that name, he really struck gold. And I don't think there's too many names that work that well where you don't just kind of pigeonhole yourself. You know what I mean? Because I see a lot of pages where they're just kind of too. I like the humor aspect. You know what I mean? I like the humor aspect built into it, because you get a lot of like shit posting pages with very political names, and personally I'm just not that interested in them. I like it when people have a sense of humor about it and they're able to like merge those worlds. And so all you guys, like the whole Patriot Meme Alliance, you guys really do a good job at that shit, and that's why you're all popping off. And I'm hoping to talk to every single one of you, because I find it fascinating how you guys all just found each other.
Yeah, it was actually put together. I think I was actually one of the last ones, if not, I was the last one to join. But when I was making my memes, Grand Old Memes actually reached out to me and told me, hey, we like your work, that sort of thing. And you make memes, so you know what it's like to, there were some ground rules, you know what I mean? As far as joining the Patriot Meme Alliance, like if you've got ideas bouncing off each other, you don't go posting their stuff without a watermark, or, you don't go jumping the gun with stuff. It really is, there is a craft to it. And it's, you get a lot of people who don't really understand the whole culture. The meme culture, as ridiculous as that sounds, there is a culture behind it.
There is 100%. No, man. 100%.
But that's kind of, we all just kind of help each other out. He's the one who reached out to me, said, hey, I like your work. And man, the rest is history. They really did help my account grow. I never really, I've never really taken it too seriously. Like tomorrow I could be shut down on all forums, and it is what it is. At the end of the day, I have a voice that I can like bring my sense of humor out to people and share it with other people. And it's really, really cool when other people get the joke, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, 100%. And just kind of what you said about, how it sounds silly. But I mean, besides memes, so my whole thing is I always wanted to have a podcast, and I always, wanted people to come to my stand-up shows and stuff like that. And I always knew nobody's going to give a shit about me. Just, I needed some sort of vehicle. You know what I mean? So I started making memes as a vehicle to introduce myself, like before things ever even got political, And then so when people were stealing my memes and stealing my content and washing watermarks, that was kind of a learning curve. Like, I made that one meme. I see it everywhere. It's the one where it says, sophomores in college, be like tax the rich, and it has a picture of a mansion underneath it, like the house they grew up in.
Yes.
And so I made that meme and I put the watermark at the bottom, and I'm not going to put them on blast because they are in our realm. Like, they aren't associated with like any of us directly, but they are in our realm. So I know who chopped the meme. It's a big account, but I don't want to burn any bridges or some shit like that.
No, there's a huge account, a massive account. I'm not going to burn any bridges with this massive account, but their favorite thing to do is just remake memes. They'll just remake the exact meme. Like, literally, they have no shame. They'll do it 45 minutes after you've posted it to your page. We're probably talking about the same page.
I think you're talking, and you don't have to say this, but I'll say it because fuck this guy. If it's Biden thoughts, because I cannot stand this guy, I'll fight him on site.
It's actually not. It's even a larger. It's a massive account. I'm talking about with like millions.
Then we're talking about the same one, yeah. But.
Yeah, okay. But it's and a lot of I'm not even going to say one of the guys in the Patriot Meme Alliance. It seems like he's getting picked on because a lot of his memes are the ones that get now. It's like an inside joke with us because he'll post it 45 minutes later, he gets remade, and it doesn't. His meme was better. The original was better, anyways. But it's like, hey man, how hard is it just to give the credit where the credit is due? Because it's coming from. It's no different than somebody stealing your stand-up routine. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's exactly how I look at it because, that's kind of my, like my social realm. I hang out in comedy clubs and stuff like that. And it's basically, you don't steal jokes. You know what I mean?
Nope.
It's just not.
Oh, I want to be like Joe Rogan to these meme accounts and like the Carlos Mencias, and just like go up to him and be like, this guy is a fucking fraud, that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, I think we need more, but so then, cause people downplay that. So somebody will steal your shit and be like, oh, it's just a meme. Calm down. Be like, well, if it's just a meme, why can't you give me credit?
No, exactly. Well, why don't I just duplicate every single post that you post, and I'll just rename my account and get a bunch of followers. It's at the end of the day, like I said, it has nothing to do with money or anything like that. It has to do with people appreciating your sense of humor and the work you're putting forward. And it really is a form of a sense of humor, and it's a vehicle for people to get their thoughts and their values, their morals. And it's a vehicle to kind of express that. And when people steal that, it's like, it's kind of ridiculous. It's even if you remade the meme, I wouldn't even care. Inspired by the original meme of, whoever, that's the way you do it. But
yeah, I mean, because people like to downplay, but then, I mean, the whole reason, before anything ever got political, I'd look at these big meme accounts and I'd see, they got dildo ads or what the hell, you know what I mean? And then I start looking like, so there's an account, it's called White People Humor. It's this guy named Kevin Flynn. He's down in Florida as well. So
I follow him. Yep.
And so him and I were talking like, I can't remember, like early 2020. I was just kind of asking him about memes and stuff like that. And I don't want to put his finances on blast, but he charges, 4 figures at least for a single post, you know what I mean? For like a reshare. Yep. And I was like, okay, there's a lot of money floating around in this meme world here because you can really cloak advertisements. You can really, like, to the normal person just seeing a meme, it's like when they do product placement in movies, you don't realize the guy's drinking a Coke, but Coca-Cola is getting in your brain. So like memes are this vehicle that you can exchange thoughts and brands and all this kind of stuff because I'm sure, I see Donald Trump Jr. repost a lot of your stuff, and then I see it end up on, I mean, you've been on Newsmax. And so, I mean, that's millions of eyes on your thoughts. So even though you just think of yourself as like, you don't think of yourself as anything besides this dude just making memes, but like, you're saying you don't care if your stuff gets nuked, but it's very influential. You know what I mean? You're still,
it's, I guess like, I would obviously care if it got nuked because I wouldn't have that vehicle anymore. But my point is, it's not the end of the world. They're not going to take away like my thought process or my feelings towards a certain thing, or so I could always remake an account. And the fact that, I mean, my account is severely shadow banned. I can't even tell you how shadow banned it is.
It is. I have to search for your posts. They don't really. I always find your posts because somebody will have them on their stories or something. Like, you don't pop up on my timeline, even though I interact with your stuff. I was going to tell you that.
Yeah, it's like just today. I posted a couple of memes that were doing really, really well, and my follower count just dropped. I noticed like it was dropping by like 50. by 50 people. Like, but they do it ever so slightly, thinking that I won't notice, but I do notice. And it's just crazy to me. Like, so, but then they'll like, my story shares will go up, and it's so weird about how they affect your reach with other people. Thankfully I have some big accounts that share my stuff and like my stuff. So it kind of keeps it afloat. But if it didn't do that, let's just say if I was just starting out just now, I could see why people get discouraged and why there aren't more of the meme accounts out there, you know? So the fact that, like you said, those Donald Trump Jr., Newsmax, other big accounts, they share my stuff. It's awesome. It helps out. It really does. And it helps keep the movement going, because other people, I try my best to share as much of other people's stuff as possible too, and give them credit where credit's due. So,
and that is the nice thing about our communities, because for the most part, I'd say, 90% of people, like, the reason I've beef with Biden thoughts is because it's this dude somewhere in Britain just trying to capitalize off American misery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then besides that, it's like, most people, they're doing it for the right reasons. And it is like, when you get the type of people making the type of content we are, and just kind of where we align, I'm not trying to sound like some virtuous person here, but it's like most people are pretty like ethically good people. So people aren't going to start stealing from you. So if one of us does get, because I got nuked, and then, a lot of people, I was very surprised by just like the love I got from other accounts, reposting me, getting me back on my feet. So that's something we definitely got to continue. If somebody does get struck down, bring that person back up. So that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to kind of help each other out, especially with the smaller meme accounts. I love finding smaller meme accounts that are actually, you can tell they're good. They're trying to get exposure. You know what I mean? They're up and running, because we've all been in that position where we had a very small following, and nobody's really sharing our stuff. But if you find it and you know that they're talented, bringing them up, helping them out, like maybe even giving them some pointers with their memes, like, people appreciate that. And that's one thing I've noticed. I have yet to have a person be like an absolute jerk about it, So
yeah, I was telling Mostly Peaceful about this too, but like Rat Boy was kind of my window. And because I like I said, I didn't even know, I was kind of dabbling in like the Tinder blog type crowd, and I was kind of tippy toeing around. And then one day I made this meme. It was in 2020. And it was like, this meme got stolen so many times as well. Like, you can Google Amy Schumer and the stolen version of this meme will pop up, like, third post. It's crazy. It went so viral. And so I probably had like 400 followers at the time or something like that. And I made this meme that said 2020 can't get any worse. And it's got a picture of Amy Schumer naked, like with the caption saying, "I'm naked." And so Rat Boy reposted it, and I'd been doing it for like 2 years. It was a good 2 years that I was making memes and just nobody gave a shit. And then this one account, this one guy, and a lot of people stole that fucking meme and gave me no credit. And then this one guy shared it. And then it was like this adrenaline rush. I felt like validated, you know what I mean? That people started following me, and it just kept growing from there. So that just shows like how important it is to help those accounts out, because we've all been there and somebody's had to been cool and like pull you up,
Rat Boy helped me out too in the very beginning. Before I even was in the Patriot Meme Alliance, he was one of the people that found me when I just had a couple of thousand followers, and he shared a couple of my memes, gave me credit, put my name very big on his story with the meme on it, and it really did help me out. And he got me some exposure and some bigger accounts. And he's always willing to give his 2 cents when it comes to memes. He's got a great sense of humor as well. And he's obviously in a circle of people who know what they're talking about when it comes to this movement. So he's another one that I credit to really helping me out in the beginning.
And that's just kind of a, beyond memes, like that's just a good kind of life lesson where because you see how highly we're talking about him right now for just being a good guy, because now he's got this loyalty through all of us because how he's treated us, you know what I mean? Versus these accounts where they'll go out and steal something and we'll be like, all right, well, fuck these people. They kind of get ostracized for being, that's in life and in the content world where they're kind of crooked. So it just always kind of pays to be honest and just treat people right. And then I think that'll come back to you. Like, that shouldn't be the motive to expect something back, but I think it'll always come back to you because I support everything those guys do. I watch every podcast, I'm super loyal to those guys.
And it's a great podcast too. They have some crazy content on there. Sometimes it's like, it is hilarious, but the way that they actually convey it it pisses you off sometimes, right? Like when you see some of the content that they share, you're like,
It's so
how
good.
do people think this stuff? Like, but no, it's a very good podcast. They're very talented. So
Do you what's your relationship with DTJ? Do you guys because I see he shares a lot of your stuff. Do you have a relationship with him? Do you guys talk?
Just on just DMs talking. Like, so there's in the beginning, it started out with him sharing my stuff, and then every now and then you get a feel for certain accounts that like certain content. And if I made a meme that I thought, that's one thing I don't that's my biggest thing. And there's a lot of accounts that have helped me out because they're like, man, you've been really, really cool. You don't ask me for anything. Like, and so I share your stuff because I like it. But they said, a very good example of that is Tim Young. Tim runs his mouth on Twitter, and he's on IG, and he's also very big on Getter. If you have a Getter account, you have to follow Tim Young. But he's super cool guy. And he said one thing that he got me back on Getter, and me and him were talking. He's like, dude, you haven't asked me for anything. So I always want to help you out. I want to help your account grow. Like, so, and I think the same thing goes for Donald Trump Jr. Like if you're like blowing him up all the time and sending him memes on side, he's going to block you. Right. or whoever's 100%. Running his account is going to block you. But there are times that, it's him talking to you, but also, he's super cool. Like I sent him a meme and I think he'll like, and usually he'll post it, but I haven't sent him a meme in a while, and he still posts my stuff. So it's pretty cool. Like you said, it feels it's validating.
Yeah. I only talk to him. Same thing. If he shares something of mine, I just say like, cause same thing. I don't want to, go and I don't want to annoy him. You know what I mean? Because, but he's super cool. Cause I remember when the Jussie Smollett thing was happening. It was so weird. I was sitting in this just little bar just in bumfuck Texas, and like deep in Trump country, you know what I mean? Yep. And I was sitting in this little bar, like probably like 2 hours outside of Dallas. And I responded because, he follows me. So it goes to his inbox. I responded to something laughing about Jussie Smollett, and then he wrote back like a couple sentences, like just like banter, and I'm sitting there just drunk at this bar, like I'm talking to DTJ, and so I messaged, and so we just started talking, and it was he's just a real nice, just cool guy, and I was just kind of mind blown. Not that I was expecting him to be a dick, but it was just kind of it was weird. And then, so whenever he posts any of my stuff, I respond to it like, oh, thank you. Hope all is well. I just kind of try to talk to him just like a normal dude. And that's how he comes across. He just seems like a real nice guy.
Oh yeah. That's the one thing. Like you can tell there's some large accounts where you can tell that there's someone else running that account. Right. With Donald Trump Jr., like when he messages you, especially like you said, when he gets into political banter, you're like, no, this is Donald Trump Jr. talking. Cause you can tell it's like literally verbatim what he would be saying anywhere else. And he's, like you said, he's very down to earth, but he'll be, it'll be about a meme he posted, and he'll say something, he'll just go off about it, and you're like, oh, wow, that's actually Donald Trump Jr. talking.
Yeah.
You can tell.
No, it's actually, I went and saw, there was a thing here in Austin. It wasn't like a campaign rally, but it was, Big 45 was in town, and DTJ opened for him. And it was like a comedy routine, dude. Like people were falling out of their chairs when he got up there. He was so entertaining. Like he was mocking Joe, he went to the back of the stage and he started shaking hands with like invisible people and stuff like that. And the dude's just hilarious, and then Trump came out and it got more like political. So it was a cool dichotomy between the two. You know what I mean? It was kind of a, you can just tell just the media wash, like how they paint these people as such bad people. And then you have these like minor interactions with them where you can just tell like, all right, no, these are good humans.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yep. I completely agree with you on that. Yep.
So what's your future looking like? Are you trying to reach, I was talking to Mostly Peaceful, and you kind of hinted that you guys were kind of spitballing the idea of launching a podcast yourself, or do you have any other ambitions in the based world, or are you just are you happy with putting your memes out there and doing your trolling?
For right now, I'm really enjoying doing the memes and the trolling. We definitely are thinking about doing a podcast. It's going to happen. We've been talking about it. We want to set it up. Or actually, you're probably one person that I'm going to be pulling aside and asking some questions about on how to, start and that sort of thing. There's a lot. That's one thing that's beneficial about the movement is there's so many people that are good at what they do, you being included. they would be very easy to get good advice, if that makes any sense.
Like, 100%,
so
and
it's not like you're like, oh, what do I do? Like, you can tell, like, mostly Peaceful, he's very good at what he does. You know, he's very good at shit posting. He pisses a lot of people off. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
So I honestly think me and him would make a good team, especially like with starting a podcast. It's we're still if you've got any name suggestions too, you know, just send them my way. Anybody listening too.
Yeah, we can chop it up a little more off air about that kind of stuff. And that'd be awesome, man. I was just going to ask you about that. I forgot I was going to ask you about that.
What's that? What are you going to ask?
Something about podcasts. No, but anything. That's what I do. That's what I wanted to do with this podcast. I wanted to really get to know the people behind and really kind of build that community. And it's cool. You know, you guys kind of were blazing the trail about it. I mean, that's what kind of, you know, there's a lot of people like, you know, like Bobby Sausalino, for instance. Do you know who that is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Take Naps. Is that him?
Yeah. Take Naps. Yeah. I mean, he's kind of one of the guys that really inspired me to put, you know, my face on camera. Because I find the guy hysterical. I almost didn't like him at first because he's so funny and so smart and just like a good looking, charismatic guy. You know, like I had to put my ego to the side and like really like, all right, let me listen to this guy. And he kind of inspired me to put my face out there. And then with you guys, what you're doing with the Patriot Meme Alliance, it really inspired me. Like, okay, like there's a community here. Like there's some shit to build on. So I've just kind of taken, you know, and I like to pay homage. Like Fleck is another guy where he, you know, like his YouTube channel and the way he interacts with these crazy people without being too like condescending, how he just kind of lets them talk. You know what I mean? There's so much, there's so much talent and so many different approaches in like this whole community where, you know, I've just kind of been trying to like pick and choose like, okay, I like this, I like that, and kind of just bring it all together as much as I can and try to, you know, build those bridges with people and just try to see what works and what people enjoy. So that's what I'm hoping with this podcast. It'll really, you know, give people more of an insight to who the people are and like really try to help the community out. So that's my goal.
That's awesome, man. And I appreciate you even inviting me on it. That's I was like, oh, absolutely. I want to be on it. Your stand-up stuff, the clips that you post, the memes, the tweets, a lot of them, man, they get me rolling. Honestly, they're really good. You do a fantastic job. So keep doing what you're doing too.
I appreciate them. I think the tweets is kind of turning into my, I just noticed that one day, like, I don't think, you know, like there's guys, you know, like obviously all you guys are really good with the memes. I think, you know, with me, it's more with words. I feel like it's easier for me to come up with words and kind of be snarky that way, where I look at a meme and I'm not so confident about I'll look at it and be like, is this shit? But that's why I started doing the carousels, where instead of just releasing like one meme at a time, I try to mix them in with my tweets to kind of like, okay, if one thing sucks, one thing will bring up the other. So it's kind of interesting, just kind of finding that formula and trying to see what works. But
it's fun. Every now and then I'll tweet something, and either it goes, you know, viral, or it's absolute shit. And I'm like, this is, you know, I'm better conveying with the memes, you know. So
you had a really, what was that? What was that? You had one that went super viral. I saw it everywhere for a long time.
Oh, was it the one Donald Trump Jr. shared one? I think it was something along the lines of if Joe Biden can't control his own bowels, are we really surprised that he can't control the pandemic right now? Something along those lines, or was it something
there was
different?
That one, but I thought there was another one, but maybe I'm sure there was, but I just can't remember. I'm so addicted to the internet, dude. It's pretty bad.
I tweeted something. The only other one I know, because I've only done 2 or 3 tweets probably in the past year, because it's only when I'm like, there's no way I can make a meme about this. I've got to just spit it out in words. It was about the kids, about what they're teaching kids in school and that sort of thing. I forget even what I said, man. I have a horrible memory, but that tweet actually did pretty well too. It was, but like I said, I feel more confident with memes. When I have a thought, I'm like, man, I can convey this with a meme so much better. And you know, growing up, I could quote music and movies like no other business. I'm horrible. I was horrible at math. I was really good at English, really good with words. And I have like a incredible memory when it comes to like movie quotes. I'm one of those people that's just like useless for anything else except for movie quotes and songs. Like, but I'm like, man, this is useless knowledge. No. It was with memes. It was perfect. So a lot of my memes are movie quotes, and it's I've just, I did a movie quote today, and it's just a random, it'll click in my head as a perfect vehicle to be able to convey that message. And it seems to not be useless knowledge in that respect.
I read this book recently. It's by a guy called James Altucher. Are you familiar with him?
No.
He started off as an investor, and his books are kind of just all about like being creative and working for yourself. And he's got this term, he calls it idea sex, where you basically, I know it sounds weird, but you basically take two existing good things and create something new out of it. And he just kind of gave a bunch of examples, where they work. And that's basically, sorry, I just got our 10-minute message popped up here. Kind of distracted for a second. That's how I see memes, because that's one thing where a lot of people starting out, like that's always the advice that I give to a noob is, they try to just find a funny picture and write something funny about the picture. But it's like, no, dude, you need to have the joke alone, like the caption itself needs to be funny. And then you need to find a funny picture to complement that. Like you need to take two already standalone. A great meme is two standalone funny things and you combine them. That's where the magic's at,
Yep. I forget, somebody said something to me, and it was something along the lines of, if, we can just go ahead, and if the Second Amendment isn't absolute, then we wouldn't be able to, we don't have to pay income tax. The 16th Amendment is null and void. And I was like, the first thing I came to is in my head, useless knowledge from Home Alone, Kevin McAllister saying, no tip. Okay. And it's like, no, wait. And I was like, I'll just use that. That'll be the government. And Kevin McAllister is me saying, oh, you don't want your money? All right. And I made that meme today, and people seem to absolutely love it. So that's just the way my thought process works.
What's your creative process? I mean, do you just make it on the spot right then and there? Do you kind of keep a log of things that you think you want to do? Or is it kind of turned, do you have a pretty big backlog of ideas, or do you just kind of create it on the spot and throw it out?
It depends. Sometimes I won't even put something out for 2-3 days because I'm just not feeling it, or I'm in a funk, and I'm not going to just put garbage out. And then sometimes, like today, I came up with like 7 memes, and I'm like, I can't just post 7 memes in a row. That's ridiculous. So I actually hold off a little bit. But my creative process, I wish I could tell you something more organized, but I literally write like notes in my phone if there's something that's pissing me off as far as any subject matter that I may see on the news. And if I find something that links with it in my head, like a movie quote or something funny I can do with it, I'll do it right then on the spot. But sometimes I'll work it out in my head where I'm like, man, I know a movie quote for this and I forget what it was. I can say it in my head. It's like anything else that anybody else does when someone tells you to, hey, name that song or name that movie quote. And then finally it'll click in my head and I'm like, oh, you know what? This movie quote's really good for that. And I'll make it. And sometimes if I'm able to make myself laugh with it, then I post it. But if I look at it, I'm like, this is absolute shit. I'll forget I even made it.
Are you ever surprised by that though? Have you ever just thrown something out there you think is absolute shit and it does very well, or vice versa?
I haven't. I've posted something that I thought was good, but not very good. That's one thing I will say. Like, I'm very critical of myself, and that's one thing I really liked about the Patriot Meme Alliance is, believe me, they keep you humble as well. You'll put something out there you think is good, and they're like, dude, this makes absolutely zero sense. Like, you have to fix it. And it's like, oh, okay, it was funny to me, but it does get tweaked a little bit, and they help you out in that respect. But as far as your actual idea goes, I've always posted something I thought was decent, but I have been surprised where I'm like, wow, okay, that really resonated with people, or they thought it was funnier than I did, So yeah, that has happened before. Sometimes it's the tweets. I don't ever think tweets are going to really do well, but I want people to also hear me speak, with just my, as far as my words go,
Yeah. No, that's that's awesome. You guys are doing that, 'cause it reminds me, because comics will go grab coffee and kind of just go through jokes, and people just be brutal like, dude, that doesn't make sense. And it keeps you, it's good to have that circle, you know what I mean? And it's awesome because you guys release such high quality content. So that's, it's great talking to you, man, because this is exactly what I wanted this podcast for. Just kind of see, without taking any of the magic away, but just kind of seeing the inner workings of how this shit works, because there's a lot of shit memes and there's a lot of great memes, and you guys own a huge market of the fucking great memes. And so it's really interesting to hear how much you know, that you guys do take it serious. Like, even though we're just bullshitting and shit posting or whatnot, like, people do have to realize, like, okay, this stuff doesn't just fall out of the sky. Like, it's good jokes. So
oh yeah, absolutely. I'm lucky to have linked up with those guys. Every single one of them, they know what they're doing. Silent Meme Majority, he's very good at graphics, that sort of thing. He makes hilarious videos. So anytime that you have any input when it comes to videos, or if I ever put a video out, or I'm trying to create some content, he's always like willing to like help out with that type of stuff. Like, everybody has their specialty, you know, and
yeah.
Randall Memes does those serious memes very well too. He has a perfect art to be able to do a funny meme and then at the same time do a serious meme. You know what I'm talking about, where it's just a headline and it's a serious meme and it's conveying like the serious nature of something. And you're like, okay, this is supposed to be a funny account, but he pulls it off and he does a very good job of it. So
yeah, same with the dumbass Photoshop. Like, he's got the Photoshop thing going. Yeah, no, it's really cool. All you guys got your own thing going on. It just kind of works, man. It's very impressive. But yeah, dude, we're kind of running out of time here, and I want to wrap this up before Zoom just brutally cuts us off, dude. But yeah, is there anything else you'd like to plug? Any last things you'd like to get in here?
No, obviously follow all of us on the Patriot Meme Alliance. So you can find me on Instagram, and I have all of them listed on my account. It's _Southern_dude on IG. I'm also the exact handle on Getter. I just went back on Getter, so I'm _Southern_dude on Getter. And on Twitter, I am TSD, like that Southern Dude memes. And yeah, follow the Patriot Meme Alliance. Also follow Prison Mitch, Midnight Mitch. He's actually lives in the same town as me. We found that out, and it's a very small world. We've had beers together and made memes together. But yeah, follow all of us. I have them listed on IG. So, and we obviously appreciate the support, and it's a blast. You know, I absolutely have a blast doing it. And thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I'll be sure to put all your handles in the captions when this comes out. And yeah, man. Well, you have a great rest of your weekend, dude, and we'll be in touch and definitely have to do more stuff in the future. And thank you again, dude. I really can't thank you enough for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, man. Take care.
All right, take care, brother.
All right, bye.